If you are planning a trip to Sao Miguel, you have to go hiking. Before you plan your route, you should consider these 5 trails. Sao Miguel is often called the Hawaii of Europe, and honestly, the rumors are true. It is raw, incredibly green, and best explored on foot. But the trails here are wildly diverse. One day, you're walking the edge of a massive volcanic caldera, and the next you're stumbling across 19th century ruins reclaimed by the jungle. And you don't have to be a serious hiker in order to enjoy the best views. All you really need is a decent pair of shoes and a sunny day for maximum enjoyment. My homie Alan and I just got back from doing these hikes ourselves, so today we're breaking down a mix of the island's most famous icons and a few hidden gems most tourists completely blow past. Here's what these hikes actually look like on the ground. First up is Vista do Rei, which starts at one of the most famous viewpoints in the entire archipelago by the same name. Most tourists pull up in their rental cars, take a selfie at the viewpoint or next to the abandoned Mont Palace Hotel, and leave. But the real magic starts when you pass the parking lot and start walking on the trail. This is a 7.5-kilometer linear hike that takes you along the southwest ridge of the crater and drops you right into the town below. On paper, it's rated as easy because it is almost entirely downhill, dropping about 500 meters in elevation over roughly 2 hours. When we did this hike, the first thing that struck out to me was how wide it was. You could drive a truck on this trail, and we even had to step aside for farm equipment to pass through a couple times. Given how many people were at the viewpoint at the trailhead, it turns out the hiking trail wasn't as packed as I would have expected. There were a lot of cows. The weather changed frequently. One minute it would be sunny and clear skies, the next minute the clouds would roll in and it would be drizzly. When the skies are clear, you can see the cows and the Atlantic Ocean on one side of the trail, and the town and the lakes inside the crater on the other side. Supposedly, massive hydrangea bushes grow here, but because we were visiting in the beginning of May, they were out of season. Because this is a linear trail, you need a game plan for getting back to your car when you're done. Research on the internet suggests you can get a taxi, hitchhike, or just walk the road from the town back to your car. When we did this hike, we got to the trailhead in the late morning, spent some time at the viewpoint and at the abandoned hotel, then decided to start hiking. We were starving for lunch about an hour or so later. Not knowing exactly where we were on the trail and how much further we still had to go, and because the trail is so easy anyway, we thought it was best to just turn around and hike back and not deal with the uncertainty. We also did a little bit of geocaching along the way to break up this really easy hike. My insider tip for this hike is to save it for a sunny day and to start early in the morning. Not only will you beat the crowds and get a better parking spot, but rumor has it that the morning light hitting the Green Lagoon is unreal. The verdict? If you want maximum panoramic views with almost no uphill cardio, this is a must-do. If Vista do Rey feels like a casual stroll, Mata do Canario is its wilder, more dramatic sibling. It's a 12-kilometer trek that tackles the northern and northwestern rim of the caldera. You can actually combine this trail with the Vista do Rey trail to hike the full circumference of the crater rim. Right at the start, you hit the Wall of the Nine Windows. This ancient stone aqueduct covered in moss looks straight out of a fantasy movie. From there, the trail gets a little bit more serious as you climb up towards Pico do Cruz, which is the highest point on this side of the crater, sitting at around 840 meters. Now when we did this hike, it was after having done the Vista do Rey hike, having lunch, and stopping at every viewpoint in the area. It was getting late and we were tired. Pretty much, Alan saw a trailhead placard and was like, let's check out that aqueduct. So that's what we did. We only hiked the first few minutes of the trail, saw the aqueduct in question, and then started looking for dinner. Much like the Vista do Rey hike, I would save this for a sunny day and perhaps even utilize a Spot Azores webcam map before you leave your accommodations so you know what the current conditions are like. The weather at Mata do Canario can be completely different from the rest of the island, and if it's fogged out, you're essentially hiking inside a giant white cloud. The verdict? If you have the stamina for a longer hike and want the most epic, jaw-dropping panoramic views of the lakes, choose this one over the Vista du Rey hike. Better yet, if you are in great physical condition, combine the two and make one giant loop around the crater. It's full of arches. It's like McDonald's, but not golden. Oh, I think it's kind of cool looking. Okay. It's good enough for me. Let me know in the comments if you think this is cool or not.
Thumbs down if you can finish.
Instead of giving me a thumbs down, just don't comment. If you think Alan is full of malarkey, please leave a comment below. He thinks this is garbage. I think it's pretty neato. Alright. Next, we are heading to the south coast near Agua de Alto for the Quatro Fábricas da Luz trail, which translates to the 4 factories of light. This is easily one of the most unique hikes on the island because it's a journey through industrial history. It's a short 2.1 kilometer linear trail that follows a rushing stream through a deep, lush valley, passing the ruins of the late 19th century hydroelectric factories that first brought electricity to Sao Miguel. This trail is very well maintained, but it still has the vibes of stepping onto the set of Jurassic Park. The forest has been reclaiming these massive stone ruins, and even the chickens are moving in. Just all sorts of dilapidated nonsense. Something not happy we're here. Hi, chicken. What are you doing? The waterfalls weren't popping off like we expected. This was the first hike we did when we landed in Ponta Delgada, and it was near where we had breakfast. We were very sleep deprived and we were not able to stock up on food and water before this hike, so this relatively easy trail was all we really had the strength for at that point in time. Because it's a short linear trail, you have to turn around at some point and hike back. We did that after reaching the second factory, as we assumed it was just going to be more the same if we kept going. My insider tip here is to not be dumb like us and bring some water with you, as it does get pretty hot on the trail and you can't really rely on the waterfalls or wandering chickens to save you. That said, if the waterfalls are going crazy, you may want to bring a lens cloth or something to keep your camera and other gear from fogging up. The verdict? If you want to take a step back in history, or if you don't have it in you to hike the more popular but much tougher Lagoa de Fogo trail next door, do not skip this hidden gem. Now we are heading up to the remote northeast region of Acahinda to find one of the most Instagram famous spots on the island, Poço Azul, the Blue Well. This is a quick 2-kilometer round-trip walk through a dense forest that leads to a natural pool with an intense, crystal-clear blue color that looks almost artificial. We decided to check out this spot after spending the first half of the day jumping off of waterfalls and other canyoning activities and having lunch at a spot recommended by one of our tour guides. We wandered the town for a little bit before reaching the trailhead on this hike, which was kind of tucked away in the residential landscape and you probably wouldn't notice it if you weren't looking for it. It's an easy, mostly gentle hike through the forest with lots of birds and lush greenery that culminates to the star of the show, Poço Azul. Social media makes Poço Azul look like a tropical oasis, but much like the waterfalls in the previous hike we covered, the water flow was minimal at best and the pool itself was smaller in person than I expected. Still, after waking up early and all the physical activities Alan and I did that morning, I totally could have napped on the rocks here for a couple hours and just listened to the trickle of the water and the chirping of the birds. My big tip for Poço Azul is about timing. If you want that brilliant glowing blue color, you need to visit when the sun is directly overhead, usually between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. If it's a completely overcast day, the blue won't pop nearly as much. Also, you can easily combine this with a PR21 SMI trail to see the massive Salto de Farina waterfall nearby. The verdict? It's a short, beautiful walk, but go for the scenery, not for a casual afternoon swim. Our final hike takes us to the remote southeast town of Fayal da Terra for the Sanguinho Trail. This 4.5 kilometer loop is an absolute fairy tale. It takes you deep into a lush river valley, brings you face to face with a jaw-dropping waterfall, and then loops you back through an ancient, once-abandoned cobblestone village perched high on the hillside. This was easily one of the most unique hikes on the entire trip, but it is a genuine workout. The trail to the Salto de Prega waterfall is full of exposed roots and rocks, along with cats, chickens, and ducks. Since we did this hike on the same day that we had our canyoning adventures, as well as visiting Poço Azul, we decided to skip the waterfall portion of the hike and check out the abandoned village first. The hike up to the village was brutal after all of the activities we did that day, and the cobblestone the entire way looked very pretty but didn't feel too good on your feet. Once you make it to the top, though, you are greeted by an old stone village that is slowly being restored. I don't think you can get a car up here, but all of the hikers we came across were doing this hike in a counterclockwise direction, starting with the waterfall and finishing with the abandoned village. I would argue that doing this loop in the opposite direction would be easier, as I personally would rather go up the steepest parts instead of going down it. However, a case can be made where you check out the waterfall, maybe go for a swim, and then visit the only store in the village and have yourself a beer. The verdict? If you only have time for one hike that combines waterfalls, history, culture, and great views, make it Sanguinho. This is the trail leading out of the abandoned village.
Step cobblestone.
Yeah, it's fun. It looks like this the entire way.
It's not comfortable walking on.
Yeah, not terribly comfortable, but
Another cat.
oh, and of course, we have to pay the toll. And what is the toll? Oh, is it one scratch?
Yeah, so thirsty.
Oh, you're so cute, though. I don't know if I want to pet you, but I love you. All right. 5 different hikes, all on one tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic. Let me know in the comments which of these 5 hikes looks like your vibe, and if you're planning a trip to the Azores, hit that subscribe button because I have some other Azores related videos posted and a couple more in the works. See you in the next one. Pondering life as he stares ahead at the ocean, the giant rocks, wondering what his purpose is in all this.